Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be talking about why you should not use Azure Container Apps, especially if you're running a .NET application. So a couple days ago, maybe even almost a week ago, I published a new update for my application. So to do that, you just go build and publish, and it said the publish succeeded. But when I was running my application, my client application, it was getting an unexpected response. And it was getting an unexpected response even when an error was like a an intentional error was being sent. So to give you an example, what I had done is I added a new version. I added versions to my I added versions to one of my actions or controller actions. So I added a version 2 for one of the routes. And I had to add versioning for the entire I had to add versioning support to the entire application, by the way. So what that means is that an API method like this, it would by default be a version 1, so you wouldn't have to specify any versioning. But to access the version 2 method, the route would be the same, the path would be the same, but you would have to set up a header, and the header would have to send this, right? And then it would return. It would use the backend would use the correct versioning of the route. So what I even tested out is I sent a 3. So when a 3 is sent, the application is configured to return a error code because it's an unsupported version. So as you can see here, our ASP.NET application should return 501, but what was happening is version 1 was being returned. So it seemed that versioning wasn't even in it. So I finally decided to take a look at my Azure application over here, and we scroll down and we see that the application has been degraded. The application was degraded, and I was never notified that this was an issue. And what it means to be degraded is that update won't go through. It won't update at all. So if we look at revisions and replicas, we'll see that the version that runs is the one that was updated last pushed out on the 6th. But every time you update, even manually, so this was done manually, if you try updating it manually, it simply does not work. And so I had to use the app service, which is not containers, so the non-containerized version of it, which is quite unfortunate because that means based on how DNS works, I had to reconnect the domain and wait 12 hours. So one thing Azure sucks at is that it doesn't even inform you that setting up a domain takes 12 hours, and it's not smart enough to know that you have the domain set up already. See, if Azure was smart enough to know that you use the domain for something else, it would add like a transfer domain service, and it would tell you not to stop the application. So when you set up the domain in Azure, you actually I couldn't destroy this container yet. I couldn't stop it because otherwise the application would break, since the DNS time to live is 12 hours. So for 12 hours, you'd have to run the application still. So what can we learn from this is that we need to have a production health check. So that means adding something where adding an endpoint so that you know the version running in production, the app running in production, is definitely the latest version that you expect it to be. Now, how you actually do that is not the point of this video. There's tutorials out there, and my template, I'm working on a template for ASP.NET, and but it's not fully complete because I'd say I'm almost there, but the application is not fully perfect. So when the backend is finally perfect, I'm gonna strip it down to be so that it can be really nice for every one of us. And then, hold on. From then on, we can live in a life where you're not struggling so much and things will be really nice. And that's the future I want to build where you don't have issues like this because you aren't using Azure Container Apps. You're using whatever they recommended, which is app service. So yeah, this video is about using app services and not container apps. And now I gotta go. So I'll see you in the next video.